Hey guys, just before we get into the next video, I want to take a quick second and thank you guys. We broke through 900 subscribers. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason I keep making these videos and doing what I do. Really appreciate it, and here's to 1,000. All right, here we go. Hello YouTube, Hester 781 here, and this is today's project. This is Ugly Betty. No, this is a, I believe, 1984 Workhorse LT 1100. Quick backstory. This was given to me. This was free. It came up on one of my local Buy Nothing pages. And it's been a great unit. It ran when I got it. I've done a little bit of work to it. I did a couple front tires, give it a little bit of height, a little more meat. Did a new starter. New battery. Anyway, a couple of pulleys underneath, and this thing's just just like it says, it's a workhorse. I use this to pull my aerator, my thatcher, anything that needs pulling. I use this mainly because it's manual. It's got a nice, beefy gearbox. Which leads us to today's project. This tire leaks. It's cracked, it's dry rotted. The stem is leaking badly, so I was going to just pull the stem out, and then I noticed this. Yep. Don't adjust your set. That's bad. That's, I don't know what broke, but I hope it's not bad. This side it's got a little, well, it's got way too much, but this side feels slightly better. So yeah, this is what we're going to be tearing into. I can't really fit the camera in for everything, but there's one bolt right there for the shifter. 2 bolts right there on each side. Take off that bracket. Obviously, disconnect the belt. This brake rod, which is right there, hooks up to the side of the transmission. The brakes actually work, believe it or not. And then lastly is going to be these 2 bolts, one on each side. And hopefully this whole thing just drops down. The wheels are hopelessly frozen to the axles, so hopefully this will be a nice excuse to see how far I can disassemble it and maybe introduce it to my 30-ton press. Quick, just so you guys know, I've never done one of these. I've never had one of these Peerless transmissions apart, so we're going to be learning together. Let me get you set up. All right, well, you guys got kind of the best seat in the house here. So this pulley isn't playing nice. I just figured I'd see if it would all come off in one piece. Maybe. Uh-oh. Something's... I think I just need to go like this. Because it's... whatever's here. Right? Well, that can't be good. I mean, this bearing is shot, there's no doubt about that. What about this side? Can you guys see anything? Here, let me put a light on. Yeah, I figured this is going to be an expensive one. Not so much expensive, just hard to find. Alright, so that's good. This bearing's shot. What else do we got? The grease looks like garbage. This is, uh-oh, that's a metal piece of something, followed by more. metal pieces. Can I just pop this whole differential just out? I think I can. If I lower this, I should be able to just keep the clamshell, right? Maybe. When do you guys want to come grab these wheels? Perfect. All right, well, let me just put this whole thing right over there. There's no way that this is all just in the bearing, right? I don't know, guys, honestly. This, I mean, that's shot, that's a gimme. Is that all just grease? Yeah, there's no lip. But where did those chunks of metal come from? Oh, there's even a chunk here, right? No, that's built into the washer. Let me try to get some of this cleaned up, and I'll turn you back on when I figure it out. I know some of you guys were screaming it at me, but whatever this is has left the chat. I don't know if that's a bushing, what's left of a needle bearing, but it is badly grooved. This part looks fine. The housing definitely took some damage. Let me try to find a parts breakdown and see what we're dealing with here. All right, things have escalated. This was just like, I was saying swear words I didn't even know I knew. Basically, what we have here, we need 2 bearings. That much is a given. There's a bushing that goes on here. It's right here. There's supposed to be, there's what's left of it right there. A little nub that holds itself right here in this notch to keep it from spinning. So that spun, and then damage just ensued. I don't know how long it was being driven like that. I think there's a bushing that goes here and a bushing that goes here, and that is missing altogether. So I think that was what grenaded, and there was pieces of sitting in the case. There's some still in this little hole. Fun times. These little bushings, there's one inside this hole, and this goes in that hole. They are just worn, so I'm gonna get those 2. Altogether, this is around $60 in parts, which is pennies compared to a new gear case. So what I'm gonna be praying for is that this isn't so worn out that the bushing just falls out or doesn't work. I'm honestly gonna have to wait until it's here to see. This is, like I say, this is mine. It's gonna live out the rest of its life just pulling the thatcher on my property. I'm not worried about it. As far as longevity, yes, actually this is. Sorry. This is what's left of that bushing, because it's a flanged bushing. So good, that makes sense. Okay. But like I say, this is going to live out the rest of its life here. If it gets, 3 hours a year of drive time, it's a lot. It's not going to be, you know, pulling heavy hauling. It's just kind of, it's a nice little tractor. It runs like a top. It's never left me stranded. There's no rot. It's all solid steel. This is all patinaed metal. I use that word lightly. But, I mean, it is. It sat under someone's stairs for a very, very long time. The seat is ugly. I don't care. But, I mean, new steering joints, a couple new pulleys. It's simple. Back when things were made to last and made to break and be fixed. So, for you guys, this is going to be 2 minutes. But for me, this is going to be probably a week and a half of waiting for parts. So I will turn you back on when I get them. Well, here we are a couple days later, and most of the parts have come in. Still waiting on one. I just wanted to go back and say, I'm sorry if the video seems a little rushed. I am sort of full-time watching my son. So I kind of sneak out here when I can, and when I see the monitor start going off, I gotta quickly run inside. So I'm kind of striking while the iron's hot. Right now, my mother's over watching him, so I can sort of go into more depth of what's happening here. To get this axle out, what I had to do, there's a E-clip. It's hard to see. It's right there at the tip of the axle. You got to take that off, slide the axle forward enough to sneak the E-clip out. For some reason, it was just, I don't feel any burrs. I think it might have been catching on just the lip there, but I could not get it to cooperate coming out of this spider gear. Obviously, I'm by myself, and wrestling this tire while gravity's trying to make it cock to one side was a task all on its own. So maybe that was what my problem was. Now I'm going to attempt to get this one out. Luckily, I can just hold the rear end and, you know, pull it off in one hand. And the reason I have to do that is I do need to get these wheels freed up from these axles. It's my understanding that this is a spacer, which should also move, but I don't care if it moves. This spacer washer in between, I think that means it's starting to move. I don't know. The clip has been off the other side, and I've been driving it around like that, hoping to break it loose. So maybe I've been making progress, but my plan is I have this hitch extender, receiver, rigmarole, receiver tube, and it's going to go just like this over that tire, over to my press. Obviously, I got to clear this all out and lower the table down. 30-ton press plus oxyacetylene. Something's going to give, and it's not going to be me. So, yeah. Anyway, the parts that have showed up, luckily, let me turn this fan off so you guys don't have the background noise. Luckily for me, everything was still available. These transmissions, like I said, they are very common and very, people love them. New old stock Tecumseh parts. I was psyched to find these. These are Peerless. These are straight from Peerless. So let's see what we got here. These bushings are what's going to go right in here. One on this side, one on that side. Those are just worn. They're not blown out yet, but I'm in here. I'm doing them. And now this one is going to come as a question to some of my subscribers who have worked on these before. This is the flange. This is what's left of it. You can see that little nub there. That is what's left of that. There wasn't one on this side. However, if you look in the case, let me grab my light. When you look in the case, there's a little cutout right there You can actually see it better without the light. And that is where this little notch sits to line it up. It exists on the other side. Same notch, same bushing. The parts diagrams I have are shady. There's not a lot of info on the 822s. Ton of info on the 820s. People love the 820s. It's my gathering from the research I've done. What do you guys think? Should there be one here? I mean, this is what I'm waiting for, which is supposed to sit here ish. So it obviously doesn't interfere. I don't think I'm going to do any harm by putting it in there. It's possible that it just blew out completely and the gearbox has, been slowly chewing it up over the past few years. I don't know enough to be confident. I looked back at the footage and I did not see any little, any little washer bit like there was on there. So if you know, bleep bloop it down in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. I am making the executive decision to just throw it in there anyway. But I hate not knowing and guessing. It's, this is not the easiest operation here to take apart and put back together. But it's the risk you take, right? All right, the last of the parts showed up today. And basically, I know it was hard to visualize the way I was saying it, but this is going to be the setup. Here's the old wheel bearings. That one was obviously the worst. New bearing. I cleaned up the surfaces a little. New bushing. That's what's left of the old one. Nothing wrong with the spider gears. This piece right here was the main, I don't want to call it main failure, but I don't know. That's the main piece that grenaded. Here's that bushing I was telling you about. And again, another wheel bearing. So I am going to leave that piece in there. And my thought is this. When this is on the ground, both wheels are going to be pushing down towards the gearbox. Because, the leverage. So this is supported by a bearing here and a bushing there. On the left side, you got a bearing here. If this wasn't here, you'd only be pushing, relying on that piece that failed to, be the bearing surface of all that weight. And I wonder if that's why this let go. So in my mind, especially now that this has happened, putting this here is just going to, belt and suspenders this whole rear end, because it's going to be pushing on here and here. So it's going to help. Right now it's sitting cockeyed because there's no axles in it, but it is a little wallered out in that hole. It's going to have nowhere to go, nowhere to travel, and there's a tab built into it, so it's pinched as soon as the clamshell comes down. So I'd like to say I'm pretty confident that this is a better way to go about it. And I'll have to live with the consequences either way. Now all that's left, again, I've been sort of cleaning up the area, is these axles. And it's not that I'm afraid to try to get them off. It's that I just don't want to break anything else. What could break besides the rim and, my hopes and dreams. But so it's been a couple days. My aggravations and soreness have gotten the best of me. I had to walk away from this for a little bit, but I'm not giving up. Just wanted to show you guys this cool tool that I picked up about a year ago, and it is just a lifesaver. It's the Bead Buster. This particular model is XB450. They make them all the way up to, you know, they'll handle truck tires, and they'll make them even smaller than this for like dirt bikes and stuff. And usually there's not a axle in your way. And how it works is you just kind of shove this, you know, down into the bead. You gotta obviously let the air out of the tire, but... And usually you can just sock this down with a gun as tight as you can get it, and what it's doing is it's drawing this little wedge into the bead and pinching this against, so it has nowhere to go. I try not to get into tires very often, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Mostly it's my own equipment, and this, oh, it's just a joy. Every time I use it, it's an absolute joy, because the old way involves, again, not having an axle in there, but you hook it up to the tool and you hitch onto the post and you push down real hard to try to break them, and sometimes you end up bending the posts, but all you need here is 3/4 socket, and bam, the bead is off. Now, I'm not going to lie, most times you will have to swap this over to the other side, but sometimes like this, it just works perfectly. And, oh, what a joy. It just, you use it once and you'll never want to do without it again. Let me tell you. And then she's off. I'm going to heat the crap out of right here. I don't care if this moves. It's not. I could care less. Heat the crap out of it, and then I gotta quickly transfer it to this, which is that hitch receiver, and then quickly pump the jack down and press whatever, and hope to holy hell that it moves. I don't think I'm going to be able to film this. It's just going to be very hectic in a small area, but we'll see what happens. You know, someone once said, a man can try and fail many times, but he is not a failure until he gives up. And I'm goddamn just about ready to give up on this piece of... Anyway, the rim broke. I got this piece absolutely cherry red, and it wasn't meant to be. So now I'm gonna have to cut the rim off, slice this piece, and hope that I don't damage the axle, / hope that the axle isn't bent from all my shenanigans. Stay tuned. You know, Musty One said it best. When will equipment learn that I am going to keep escalating until I get what I want? Oh, we are so not out of the woods yet. But the heavy big part is off. And now I just have to slice the rest of this off. It can be done. It's fine. Everything's fine. Sweet victory. So, what did it take? Well, I got these clamshells around the rim, or the edge of the rim. Ooh, I think I might have even bent them. That was the best thing China had. How could it have bent? Anyway, I got it pressed, but then the side of the threads started going into the rim, and I really didn't want that, so I kept putting longer sockets on, and then so it didn't damage the, the top of my bit here. I used this piece of metal as a pushing surface, and I also cleaned up the edge here. But before I did all this, I did a heat quench I got that thing as cherry red as possible for the second time. I tried this the first time. I couldn't get it. And I think I might have damaged the rim or weakened it by heating it so much. But anyway, hindsight is 20/20. It's out. Now the question is it straight? All right, place your bets. Is she bent? It don't get much better than that, guys. Okay. Where are we at? 2 junk tires. Gone. In case you didn't see them before, they are so cracked and dry rotted. One actually split when I broke the bead. 2 nice new beefy tires. 1 cleaned and ready to go axle. That's the left side. And the right side axle, which arguably looks in better shape. Now, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I'm going to hang on to this because this would be a nice tool for, holding the rim. Because if I had that while I was pressing, it would not have broke the rim. I mean, the problem was that square was as close as it could to the rim, but 30 tons, it's going to take the path of least resistance. So I'm thinking, I was like, oh, should I try this wheel? He says, I cleaned it up. It slides on nice. And then I said, oh, no, that spacer, that's going to fight. And then I touched it. And sure enough, the spacer on this side is free. That one's solid as a rock. And I don't know. I'm thinking, just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I think I'm going to try it. I'm just going to gently set it up, give it a couple of pumps. If it doesn't seem like it's going, I am going to give up. But it would be nice to know that both rims can come off the axles someday. So let me get it set up. Maybe I'll turn you on for this one because I am not going to heat it up. I'm just going to try giving it a little. Also, before I get you over there, what I've done is I put a grind mark where the key is because that is going to want to push through as well. I'm not so worried. If I get this rim moving, I have plenty of keys. But the less resistance, the better. You wouldn't believe it if I told you it pressed out absolutely no problems. Barely even a couple of pumps and it started moving. Why couldn't the other side do that? Oh well. Small victories. I'll take what I can get. Well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight, guys. Left axle cleaned up, ready to go. Right axle cleaned up, ready to go. Got the rim smooth as ever. Ready to go. I still got to clean up the bead is actually pretty clean. I'm going to put some sealant on it. I don't know what all that crap is. Maybe tire sealer from, 30 years ago. Unfortunately, I have to get a rim. Luckily, there was only one used online, and it'll be here in a couple days. And then I just got to mount the tires. But I guess in the meantime, I can throw this damn rear end back together and get it mounted. But it's getting late. We'll see you in a few minutes for you guys. All right, she's all back together with a generous helping of anti-seize on each side. Just a quick show you how this works. Obviously, it's backwards facing you. Here's where the shifter would hook up to. So here's reverse. There you can see both axles are moving. That should be neutral. That noise is just the pinion bearing. Pinion gears meshing. If you come up a little bit, it goes away. Not worried about it. Yeah, first gear, really slow. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. Excellent. You love to see it. Leave it in neutral. Now let's see if we can get this thing up and in. It's going to be a lot easier now that there's no tires hanging off it. Or maybe it'll be harder. We'll find out. And she's in. It's actually really easy getting this thing in and out. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts plus 1 for the shifter and straight down. I don't have the rim yet, but what I can do, because I'm eager, is try it out. So just watch this piece of tape, you'll know if it works or not. Success! Didn't hear any pings, bangs, or bongs, or cracks. I had to shut it off real quick. This place, this thing just stinks. Get the doors open. Sweet! Victory. You know, I'm starting to think it just wasn't meant to be. The new rim showed up. And in my defense, this was the only picture I had of it. And this is a picture of the old rim. But as you can see, we're 2 sizes too small. This rim doesn't exist. I couldn't buy a new one if I wanted to. 20 by 10 by 10 with a 4 1/4 offset. In case you're wondering, the average riding lawnmower is 3.5-inch offset, 20 by 10 by 8. So in case you haven't pieced it together, I bit the bullet. I just bought a set of new tires, already mounted, already on rims. And all that was left to figure out was the 3/4-inch difference. And I found these lovely spacers on eBay that built it out so that now I can just slap these rims on there. I tell you, this has been like a half hour for you guys. This has been a month for me. And I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And there you have it. Finally done. So, any issues discovered during test drive? Yes, one. So, this shift handle, knob, lever, whatever. It had a wear mark, scar right through it, cut almost halfway. I welded it up, and now it vibrates like hell. I can see why somebody duct taped it at one point. I'm probably just gonna slide a rubber hose over it. Maybe some shrink tubing if I could get this nut off. Anyway, you can already hear I'm trying to talk myself into doing more crap. She did good. No issues up the hill. It was growling like hell before, and now it's nice and quiet. I have all 6 gears, 1 through 5 and reverse. So that wraps it up. Anyway, I want to thank you guys again for watching. I know this was a long, aggravating one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.